Section 4.2, solving proportions. So the first thing we're going to talk about are ratios. A ratio compares values. These are three ways you would see a ratio written. So you can either write it 3:1 using a colon. You could write it 3:1, or you could write it like a fraction. So this method right here is probably the most common you're going to see as far as in math class now that you're older, but these are also ways you can see ratios. I would say that 3:1 would be the most common way you're going to see a ratio, like in on a website or advertisement or newspaper or with statistics or something like that. That's probably your most common way of seeing it outside of class. Ratios can also be equivalent or scaled up or simplified down. So for example, 3:1 is the same ratio as 6:2. Okay. But most of the time you're going to simplify it down to the smallest ratio. So let me give you an example of that. Whenever you look at data on school systems, like if you're deciding where, like your parents want to move, and they're going to look at all the different school systems in that area and figure out which school system that they want you to go to. One of the big data points of that is the student to teacher ratio, because the bigger the student to teacher ratio, that means like the less probably individual help or attention you're going to be able to get. And that means your classes are going to be a lot bigger. But the smaller the ratio, that means smaller classes and probably more one-on-one help from your teacher. So how the school district calculates they take the number of teachers and then the number of students, and then they reduce that down to 1. Okay, so for example, let's say we went through and calculated it and had, let's do even numbers. So let's say in 8th grade, there are 112 students. It's around there. I might be a little bit off there. I think it's 112. It might have jumped up to 114 or something lately.
Like 160.
It's not 160. So 112 students for every 4 8th grade core teachers. So if I simplify this down, right? So let's take 112 divided by 4. Or 112 divided by 2. 28. So that means in 8th grade, we have a 28:1 student to teacher ratio, which is pretty high in 8th grade. Now that doesn't mean in the middle school. If I were to know the numbers for the middle school, like all middle school teachers and all middle school students, the number would become a lot smaller, because this is only including your 4 core classes. When I include all middle school teachers, that's including when you go out to your electives and all of that. So this number would get a lot smaller if I actually did all of the middle school and all of the middle school teachers. But that's an example for you of a student to teacher ratio. Okay. All right. So now we're going to look at telling whether or not the ratios are proportional. And there's 2 different ways you can do this. So I'll show you both ways. So the proportion is 5/6, and we're going to see if 15/21 is the same proportion. Okay, so the first way you can do it is you can divide them and get a decimal. So you can take 5 divided by 6 and figure out what decimal that is. What'd you get? 8/3 repeating? Okay. Or you can do 15 divided by 21 and see what decimal that is. 7.2? So 0.71?
Yeah.
So those are not the same. So this is not proportional. Okay. So now I'll show you the other way to do it. The other way, so we're going to decide if 6/15 and 4/10 are proportional. So the other way you can do it is to cross multiply. So 15 times 4 is 60. Is that equal to 6 times 10? They're both 60, right? So this one is proportional. Okay, so I want you to try the next one. So you have a mixture of fuel for a lawnmower should be 4 parts gas to 1 part oil. So I like to write the words down to know like where I should put my numbers. So 4 parts gas to 1 part oil. So I'm going to put 4 on top and oil in the denominator. If you combine 5 quarts of oil with 15 quarts of gas, is it correct? So 15 is the quarts of gas, that has to go in my numerator, and 5 quarts of oil goes in my denominator. And decide if those are proportional. So you can either cross multiply or divide. I heard a no, which is correct. So if I did divide, 4 divided by 1 equals 4, and 15 divided by 5 equals 3, and those are not correct. So this would not be proportional, which would not be good for your lawnmower if you mix this wrong. Okay. All right, so the next one we're going to work with involves missing one of our numbers. So we have the problems we've done before had all 4 numbers. Now we're going to have one missing and we're going to have to solve. So for most people, the ratio of head length to total height is 1 to 7. So we're going to do length over height. And it says head length is 1 to someone's height is 7. If a person is 56 inches tall, what should the length of their head be? So where is 56 going to go? In the denominator, because that's how tall the person is. And then I don't know the length of their head. So how you would solve this is you would cross multiply. So 56 times 1 equals 56. And then 7 times x equals 7x. Okay, and then I just have a one-step equation. So what do I do next? Divide by 7. So x equals 8. Okay, on the next problem, same process. The ratio of boys to girls, so I'm going to go ahead and write what it is I'm talking about in this problem. I'm talking about boys and girls. The ratio of boys to girls on a soccer league is 4 to 5. So I'm going to put 4 over 5. If there are 52 boys in the league, how many girls are there? So where should I put 52? On top. And I could just put a G on the bottom for girls. So then I need to cross multiply. So I would get, what's 52 times 5? 260 equals 4G. Divide by 4. So I get 65 equals G. Okay. A helicopter used for firefighting travels 25 miles in 20 minutes. So the two things we're talking about are miles and minutes, right? So I'm going to put miles over minutes. It doesn't matter what order you put them in, as long as when you make your proportions, you put them in the correct spot. So 25 miles in 20 minutes. Okay, and then at this rate, how long will it take the helicopter to reach a fire that is 60 miles away? So where is 60 going to go? On top. So you're going to take 20 times 60. You get 1,200. And 25 times m. So you get 25 m. And then my next step is to divide. So m equals 48. So 48 minutes to get there. Okay, I would like you to pause your video and do this problem. And then I would like you to also pause your video and do this problem. So you'll have to pause your video for both of them. And then I will explain them. All right, so banana slug travels 4.5 inches in 120 minutes. I'm going to do inches over minutes. So 4.5 over 120. At this rate of speed, how long will it take the slug to travel 12 inches? So I'm going to put 12 inches over x. So then when I cross multiply, I'm going to get 1,440 equals 4.5x. I need to divide by 4.5. So x would equal 320. So 320 minutes to travel 12 inches. Everybody good? We'll move forward. Okay, the next one. Lee is reading a 374-page novel for English class. Takes her 6 days to read 132 pages. So I'm going to do days over pages. So 6 days to read 132 pages. If she continues to read at the same rate, how many more days will it take her to finish the novel? So I have the number 374. Where is that going to go? On the bottom. And then I don't know the number of days. So I need to cross multiply. So 6 times 374 is 2,244 equals 132D, and then divide by that. So it's going to take 17 more days. And I'm sure there's a lot of you that do this for your reading counts book. Like those of you that don't really enjoy reading, I know there's kids that pick up the book, look how many days they have left to get it done, and then they figure out I need to read 18 pages a day or 25 pages a day, and that is all they read. And they do not go over that number of pages. Yes?
What did you have to subtract 132 from 374? Since you already finished 132 pages?
Well, I think really, when it says how many more days, we should probably subtract the 6. So I think our true answer would be 11 more days.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Like it's going to take 17 days altogether, but to finish reading the book, it's going to take 11 more. Okay, and then the last question over proportions. Nate has 225 envelopes to prepare for mailing. It takes 33 minutes to prepare 45 envelopes. So I'm going to do minutes over envelopes. So 30 minutes to prepare 45. If he continues at the same rate, how many more minutes? So I have 225 envelopes, but I don't know how many minutes. So I'm going to cross multiply. So 30 times 225 and get 6,750 equals 45M. So then divide by 45. So 150 equals M. So we're kind of in the same position that we were last time where it says how many more. So you've already spent 30 minutes doing it. How many more are you going to spend? So really your answer is 120 minutes. Okay. All right, on the next one, we are deciding out of the three ratios, which 2 are proportional. So here's how I would do this. I would just go through and divide them and decide which ones are proportional. So like 8 divided by 4 is 2. 24 divided by 12 is 2. And then 55 divided by 27.
Not 2.
Not 2. What is it? 2.03?
Yes.
Okay, so that tells me that these first 2 ratios are proportional and the third one is not. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to get decimals or whole numbers. So 35 divided by 26.
1.3.
1.3 or 5. 1.2.
And then 81 divided by 39.
2.1.
Okay, 2.07. And then 27 divided by 13. 2.07. Okay, so that tells me that these two are proportional. Okay, so for your homework, this is not your assignment. Your assignment is actually worksheet 4.2.